Hello everybody, it's Drew, better known as Bleakborn. Today I'm coming at you from the Reptile room, and so let's get right into the tour. It is March, and it is time to show you guys what has changed up here, so let's get right into it. Okay, let's get this party started by going to Tortellini, our newest addition to the Reptile room. He is a slicata tortoise, or an African spur-thighed tortoise. He's in a little black plastic bin. It's not that little, it's like, what, 18 by 24 or so. He's got a little hide, he's got a little water area. Funny story is I didn't have it completely full with moss, and then he ended up getting upside down in there, so I filled it completely with moss so he can't get flipped over anymore, because that scared me, but there he is. He's about 2 years old, I guess. And he is the cutest little bugger. He was just sleeping a couple seconds ago, but I moved him out so you guys could take a look. But I'll put him back in his little home there. He's kind of made a little burrow hole, and he's one of the next ones that are getting upgraded to the tank. But first, it's got to be Khaleesi that gets the next tank upgrade. But yeah, he just eats romaine hearts and various different kinds of veggies that we end up putting in here. He definitely makes a mess and knocks it everywhere every time. Trying to keep it out of the sunlight so it doesn't go bad as quickly. I don't like messing with him too much, but it's still in the middle of the day, buddy. You don't have to go to sleep yet. But I'll leave him alone. I'm gonna go over to Cersei next. Cersei is a bearded dragon, a central bearded dragon, I believe. I'll go right, or Cersei, I'm sorry, Khaleesi, I'm sorry, I just called you Cersei, you're not a snake. I meant Khaleesi, good thing I have names on the tanks. But there you go, she is a Australian bearded dragon. She is a central, I believe, and she's of the red variety. Her tank is a 40-gallon, I guess, breeder with a mesh top. She is going to get a whole new makeover pretty soon. It's just not enough in there, and we want her to be able to move around more, but she's kind of lazy. We want to do sand in the bottom, maybe a pop-off back foam background that's water sealed and everything for her to climb around on. So that's in the works pretty soon. We'll move. What are you doing? You're just gonna sit on your food. Is that what you're gonna do? You're just gonna sit on your food. That's a rock. That's cypress mulch. What are you doing? That's the food. He's so damn cute. We'll move our way over to the little tiny 10-gallon nano reef and its inhabitants. Still one of my favorite tanks here, just because there's so much to look at all the time. So many different little things going on. As you guys can see, I just fed the Duncan, but he didn't like the food, so he ended up spitting it out. But he's got a new little head starting. I can get the focus. So yeah, I got a head there and a couple little heads there. He's growing like crazy. I've been feeding him like the dead shrimp that I've ran into, and the what are they called? Krill. They're pretty much shrimp. So he's my honorary favorite guy in the tank just because he's hilarious. Just grabs stuff and eats it. We'll move our way back. That actually right there is that blue-footed hermit crab. He has grown so much, he's had to pick the biggest shell in the tank. And right above him is the frogfish. His name is still yet to be picked, but we are looking at, I've looked at your guys' suggestions so far, and I'm really liking the idea of naming him after a type of cheese. So it's between Gouda, Munster, Colby, and what was the other one? There was another type of cheese, cheddar. I'm trying to keep to 2 syllables, so it's easy. I think I'm gonna go with Colby just because all the other guys I have end in either a Y or an I, but I'm gonna let it percolate for a little while longer. Beyond that, the tank is doing pretty good. It's a 10-gallon nano reef. Colby or Cheese. I can't call him Cheese because of Taylor Nicole Dean naming her cowfish Cheese, but this guy looks way more like cheese than her fish does, but you know, to each their own. That guy right there is nicknamed Bandit. He grabs all the food, steals it all the time, and I'm going to insert a interesting clip of our Cheese Master frogfish here, Mustard, or I don't know what to call him yet, and Bandit kind of having a little interesting encounter, and then actually him eating a shrimp that I put in there today. It was kind of interesting watching him hunt it down, so that'll be inserted right here. Wasn't that cool? Hopefully I inserted it at the right time so this doesn't sound awkward. But we'll keep moving our way down. Oh yeah, I forgot. He is a warty, wart skin frogfish, and that is a 4-striped damsel. But we'll work our way down to this tank, which is in the middle of a diatom bloom. But that's fine. It's housing the 2 shrimp in here that are still haven't got me any eggs or babies yet, but I've added a couple snails and a couple hermit crabs, a snail back there, and then I've just been pulling out little bits of macro algae, as you guys can see some green stuff there, just to start growing my own little macro cultures here. There's some right on that rock. Yeah, don't know what kind of lettuce it is, but it's very green down on those rocks. These ones are a little more fresh. I pulled them out of the main display when I was reworking it, and there's a little bit of dragon's breath in there that are actually growing. So, well, speaking of which, the little plug with the little bit of thing is actually getting some growth. And you might see that new blast, or that new coral there, I believe. I can't remember what its name is right now. And then the snake zoas I forgot to talk about. And that top one's going away. It's a birthday present for my mom. So that nice big long polyp mushroom leather or whatever it's called is gonna go away. Kind of sad, but it's a nice piece of coral. But we'll keep continuing for those guys that don't care about saltwater tanks, and we'll work our way over to Casey's tank. And there was some nice, interesting thing happened a little earlier. I actually had him climbing around, and I got a little video that I'll insert right now. first time you guys probably seen a good full look of him, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, he is a East African spiny tail lizard, and he's in a small 10-gallon tank with a mesh top with a protruding background. He greatly enjoys climbing around, getting up under the UVB bulb up there. But we'll move our way down to these guys, and like normal, they are hiding. But in this tank we have two imitator intermediates that love to hide all the time. I think I may have two males, so it might be Mulder and, well, I guess I could keep it Scully, but it was kind of going for the X-Files thing, so but we'll leave it at that. I might have a little clip right now. But we'll jump over to Thaddeus, which is actually out and about. He has decided he is not afraid of me anymore, because he knows I feed him fruit flies. And I just cleaned this glass the other day. I love it when he wiggles his toes. He is still pretty cool, or she. I haven't figured out for sure. If someone knows how to gender pick out these frogs, let me know. I know with the little ones it's a little easier, but the larger frogs, I think they have to have actually cleavage, but it's hard to tell, especially when I'm not focusing very well. But he is a powder blue tink. His name is Thaddeus. If it's a guy, it'll probably change if it's a girl, but we'll find out in a little bit. And he greatly enjoys fruit flies. And he's in a 10-gallon standard tank that's converted to a vivarium, and I forgot to mention that this is an Exoterra. Not sponsored. This is a small, I believe, Exoterra with a misting system attached. All these tanks will get misting systems eventually, but I'm only gonna put one on this tank until I get the reptile room fully finished in the basement, just because I want to make sure I have enough hose and everything before I start cutting it all. But we'll jump down to this tank. This is my 5-gallon planted with a beta. His name is Floki, and his little tag that has fell off so many times I just had it sitting somewhere. That is not it. But with the lighting in here, I get so much glare. Let's see if I can get my arm out of the shot. Of course, there's a white box there. So there's a lot of glare in this room, but let's see if I can get him to focus. He's just hanging out. Sadly, that snail died, so he's kind of lonely. There is one Otto cat back there hanging off the glass, and they're little roomies. There's also a couple of shrimp in there that he's surprisingly not eating, if it'll focus. Is that a second Otto? Yeah, I still have 2 Ottos in there. Cool. I thought I only had 1. Cool. They hide so well, it's hard to tell, but yeah, something's been eating off the lower leaves on this. I kind of have a snail infestation, and if you look on the top, I have so many aphids. They just keep coming back and going away and coming back and going away. I'm glad I don't have floating plants in this tank. This is the shrimp tank. As you guys can see, I just cut the moss the other day, and it's back up so you guys can see it to the full extent. It is just taken over, but of course, hundreds and thousands of more little shrimp in there. They are tiny little Neocaridina davi cherry shrimp, and yeah, they reproduce like mad. So if you ever get any, be ready for a lot. But they're pretty cool. They don't do much, so I don't know if how often I'll do those next. But we'll jump up to the Ziggy tank. Ziggy is a Pac-Man frog, and he is just hanging out right down there. This time of year, he doesn't like to move much. He actually spends a lot of his time sleeping, just because the temps never are very consistent around this time of year. But he's in a 20-gallon high, I believe, aquarium that's been converted into a vivarium. My camera's not focusing very well today. But yeah, I've added new ferns in here that are actually growing really well under this light. And they're filling up kind of the area that I was not liking with this tank. with the 2 larger plants. So bonus there. I won't talk about this one too much. If you want to see more about Ziggy, you can go back to one of my older videos and watch all you want to about him. But we'll jump down to this tank here, which I've had to switch a light on so I could get the light for the other tank. And now the plant growth has started to change a little bit. Actually kind of like it like this. A lot of the, whatchamacallit, you can see all the roots. I'm gonna have to go in and clean this out before the Gitrog gets in here, but the moss is growing great. The vines are growing great. It looks so overgrown, but it's so perfect. Like a little ecosystem. I don't have to like hardly even water it ever. It's just completely solid terrarium. And I just put on a UVB bulb on here. It's a little not as bright, so they don't grow as quick, but it's definitely filling out. You can always see through the top. The side just rooted over. But I'll do some pruning there, and we'll have a nice tank once Gitrog goes into there. But we'll jump back up to the top here. Second shrimp tank. As you guys can see, I've actually gotten rid of one of the tanks that were there. And I actually have 2 fruit fly cultures there because actually my Heidi got a little issue of mites and they spread them to one of my other colonies. So I'm trying to keep them very separate from my new colonies, which someone did ask in the comments on the original video. This is how the mix looks with the new with my new mix. It actually looks pretty good. Doesn't smell bad either, and they seem to really like it. But one thing different from like the Josh's Frog mix, as you guys can see up there, there's still a lot of mix on the bottom. My mix, they almost eat all of it, like way less waste, which is very good for about the same amount. And the water doesn't have to be nearly as hot to get it all to melt in the one congealy mass, so that's good. But get back to the shrimp tank here. As you guys can see, tons of frog frog bit. Is it frog bit? Yeah. And then there's a bunch of shrimp in here, still hanging out. They're not doing much, still tiny. But I had to have a second tank, and I do have a third tank down in my basement with ghost shrimp for Mr. Frogfish over there, Mr. Cheese Frogfish, whatever his name's gonna be. But we'll jump down to the 10-gallon planted tank with our beta Morpheus and his harem of what are they called? Zebra Danios. I don't think I have a single female in there because they never seem to show any mating displays or nothing. He's a little derpy, but everybody else is doing good. Actually, that bristlenose pleco, wherever he may be hiding, has grown so massive that I wish I could see him. I've just been kind of letting this tank go, but it's kind of cool, looking kind of cool, as well. The duckweed is taken over, but the tank is looking pretty good. A lot of life. Got some die off on plants though when they started getting cut off from the lights, so it's kind of like natural selection-ish, trying to find out what plants actually hold on and continue to grow. Like this mass has grown a lot. The shrimp that I put in there have disappeared, so I don't know if they actually survived the beta. But we'll jump over to Mr. Gitrog's tank here. He is an African bullfrog, and he is burrowed. I had him out this morning and just woke him up and made sure he is eating. Oh, never mind, he's right there. He's doing great. Or she. He does, he just startled him, he didn't like that. Try to zoom up on him. With the poor lighting in this area, he's kind of hard to see, but he is an African bullfrog, and from what I've been reading from the comments, he is probably the giant one, which I'm very excited about. So he's gonna get huge, bigger than Ziggy eventually. Right now he's on a diet of crickets and baby cockroaches, so he's gonna grow really quickly. And then we'll jump down to the last tank on this rack, which is Cersei, a and I just redid it actually. I added a false bottom. I didn't have it in the original build, and I think that was a mistake. There she is hiding. The problem I was having was drying out way too quick, and I could never keep the moisture. Even look at it right now, the humidity is only at 40%, but the dirt is wet, so it's staying kind of relatively humid. It still needs to be misted every day, but at least it's not going dry where I have to mist it twice a day. I've also planted a couple more plants in here to see how they do. I did notice when I was digging through the substrate that the isopods have been actually reproducing, even though it's been super dry, but I couldn't find any springtails, so I added a couple more springtails, pinches of carbon and stuff to the tank to see if I can spike that growth and get this tank going. The substrate, or the, what is it called? The drainage layer here is from the Bio Dude. I wanted to try out his website. I've been trying out like all different sorts of drainage layers, and I wanted to see what this guy offered, and so far it's so good. It was a little dusty, I'll put it that way, but I think it's gonna work out good. Oh, bounce off of that. But Cersei is a pinstripe ball python, and she is right around 2 feet long. But there you guys have it. This is the reptile slash amphibian slash fish room with some invertebrates in a couple different containers. As you guys can see, all these extra containers are just for food for all of the other creatures in this place. Like even in here, down there, refrigerator, just everything needs a lot of food. But yeah, this is the March 2nd video. I wanted to post it on Friday instead of posting it actually on the 1st. So this is the reptile room. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. If you liked this video, please like, comment, subscribe. And if you have not subscribed to the channel but keep coming back for my reptile rooms each month, I'd really appreciate it if you guys actually subscribed and became part of the community of the channel. For those of you guys that don't know, I am planning on changing the channel name here soon. I want to do one last full year as Bleakborn before I changed it over to something else. So if you have any other ideas, please leave a comment. Right now I got a couple that I'm working around with, and I think I have one that's really standing out. The requirements though are is it needs to also be able to be a business name, so I can maybe sell some isopods and frogs eventually, and shrimp. All that someday, nowhere near anytime soon. But if you guys have any great ideas, please comment down below. And I'll see you guys next time.